Shanti. Well, good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the noon meditation. Today is Easter Sunday, and so I'd like to wish you a happy and healthy Easter, a happy and healthy springtime, a happy and healthy solstice, which was, I think, a week or two ago, and a happy and healthy future for each and every one of you. The theme for the meditation today is the inner discipline of yoga. And to begin the meditation, I'd like to start with a prayer and ask you if you would come to a comfortable meditative position, back flat, spine erect, shoulders square, head square on your shoulders, eyes closed, attention focused between your eyes at the root of your nose. And again, I would like to offer a little prayer. After I go through the prayer, I would ask that you just sit in silence for a few moments. May the infinite Lord of life, of love and of laughter, bless you at this moment. May each cell of your being and each petal of your mind be touched, be healed, be harmonized. May vim and vigor and vitality be yours. May love and laughter be yours. May you truly find that which you seek, and may you find that which you seek surely, swiftly, and most harmoniously. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you. I like to mention at the beginning that when we do a prayer, we do a mantra, we do a meditation, something like that. And usually there's some spoken word or some action or activity that's involved in the prayer or the mantra, whatever it might be. And then again, I like to mention that afterwards you always sit for a few moments in silence. It's like you generate this feeling, spiritual feeling, as you do the prayer. And then what you want to do is open yourself up. You sit in silence, open yourself up, and then just absorb the feeling of the prayer. I keep mentioning this only people that are attending my meditations. You probably hear me saying this over and over again. And I think the reason I say it over and over again is because as I attend other meditations and activities, I notice that there's this tendency to say, you chant the mantra, Om Shanti, 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 and then after the mantra is chanted, the person feels this compulsion to jump up and start doing something. You always want to sit and stop for a few moments and again absorb the feeling that you're generating or that you're trying to generate and to pass on to the people that are at the activity and even to the world, the universe and whatever. So again, I mentioned that it's important. Today I'm talking about the inner discipline of yoga. And for those of you that have been coming to my meditations and lectures and things over the past few years have probably noticed, again, another thing that I keep repeating is that life is a fourfold pattern. It exists in this fourfold pattern everywhere that you look, everywhere that you see. If you look for it, you can see it. And The reason I keep repeating it is because I believe it's part of our fundamental nature. I always say four. You have 2 arms and 2 legs. And you notice, you realize there's some similarity between the appendages. They're all different in their own way, but they're the same. Um, and then you have the whole unit, the whole body, which is the fifth factor. So you have this 4 factor and a 5 factor if you deal with numerology. Another thing is like a mother, father, son, daughter. That fourfold pattern. Each one is distinct. Each one is different, and there's a whole different like universe within each of those 4 symbols. And yet, as you look at them, you say they're all related somehow. They're unique and distinct, but interrelated. And the relationship is apparent. It's just obvious. It's in the 4 elements. They all are. They're there, and they're all different, but they're linked together, and you can see that they're linked together. And then within this fourfold pattern, you have a twofold pattern, a duality that exists. Again, the mother, father, son, daughter. You see that there's a duality that exists there all over, and you see it, and it's just, to me, it's so obvious. And it's a part of nature. It's part of our nature. It's natural. And I guess that's why I focus on it. I've been focused on it actually for quite a long time. And the same is true about just the manifest universe. In mysticism, in yoga, the universe, we have manifest universes, and there's 4 manifest universes. Starting with the highest universe, and then we have the causal, and then we have the astral and the physical universes, and these are manifested physically. There's a form to them that are associated with them. And we divide them into a twofold pattern, which is the 2 higher universes and the 2 lower universes. And then in dealing with the theme today, the inner discipline of yoga, we have a threefold pattern, which is the threefold pattern is the astral and the physical worlds exist there, and we're aware of them, intimately aware of those 2 worlds, whether we know it or not. Some people would say, well, the astral, I don't understand it, I don't know it. But it's there, and you just don't realize that it's there. And so you have the astral and physical. And really what we're trying to do is get to this causal realm. That's why I say a threefold pattern. Our ultimate objective in obtaining cosmic consciousness, moving spiritually forward, is somehow to get in touch with, in contact with that causal universe. And that's what we deal with when we deal with the inner discipline of yoga. We symbolically say that causal universe is centered within us. It's within the center of us. And then the physical world is on the right-hand world, the astral world is the left-hand world. And so you have that threefold pattern. And, you get that mystical 3-4-5 symbolism of the triangle. Anyway, that's another meditation. But so for the meditation today, it's taking that astral world, the physical world, dealing with those 2 worlds, and somehow in dealing with those 2 worlds to touch that causal world, which is really what we're aiming for in the first step on our path towards cosmic consciousness. The physical world is the physical world. When we open our eyes, it's what we see, it's what we're aware of. We use the senses, the 5 senses, to perceive what's happening in the physical world. And then there's the astral world. And the astral world is really more of an emotional world. And it's dealing with the emotional part of our being. And For better or for worse, that actually astral emotional part of our being is much more influential for us than the physical world and what's happening to us physically. We tend to look at the physical world and say, that's where we're at, but we're not. We're in that emotional world, and we're driven by our emotions. It's just always there, and that's why a lot of attention mystically is paid. A lot of attention is paid to the emotional realm, our emotional and our realms, and to try and get control of it. And so I talk about the inner discipline. The inner discipline is to be aware of the physical world, but also be aware that there's that emotional world that exists within us. We're trying to get those two to symbolically collapse on each other, which simply means working with each other in a way that's harmonious so that we move into that centered realm, that balanced realm, through our disciplines, usually through the yogic disciplines. And then we, at least for a moment, become aware, grab a hold of touch in some way, shape, or form, the causal world. And so with that as my opening, what I'd like to do is stop for a few moments and listen to some music. I have a CD from the temple. It's the Divine Connection CD. And I picked one of the, whether you call it a mantra or it's really a bhajan, which just is like a song, a devotional song. And the one that I've taken from this particular CD is the Bhajo Radhe Govinda mantra. And I think it's a nice mantra. I like it. It's done by the temple musicians. So you can just, again, move kind of into your meditation, your meditative pose, and hopefully in some little way, shape, or form, this mantra will help you, again, move from that astral physical into that causal, and for a few moments to be able to touch and move into that causal realm, that centered, balanced state of awareness that we're all searching for. And again, after the mantra plays, and we'll play for a few minutes. Just sit and listen and enjoy. Bring your meditation into the mantra, and afterwards, we sit in silence for a short period of time.
Gopala Tere Pyare
Shanti. It feels nice. I'd rather sit in silence and meditate and finish the lecture. But life moves on and we must perform our duties. I've been talking about two worlds that we live in. And the two worlds that we live in that we're aware of are the astral and the physical. And we're mostly aware of the physical. When I say awareness, what I mean is our consciousness. We have a consciousness that's within us, and it's there 24/7. It's always there, and it's doing something. It's either moving into the physical realm and then it becomes involved in the physical, or it moves over into the mental, emotional, the emotional realm, astral world, we would call that, and it functions there. It has, and each realm has its own function and purpose, which again is a different lecture. But I think I said a couple of times that the average person, the typical person walking down the street, if you talk to them about the astral world, they'd say, "What's that? I don't know what that, I have no idea what that is, what you're talking about." Or they may have heard about it, but they don't know what it is. And they say, "Oh, it doesn't have anything to do with me," something like that. It's just, the awareness isn't there. But I said it is there because it's emotional. So if they're aware of their emotions, or if they have any awareness of their emotions, they're already having some awareness of the astral realm. You go a step further and say, well, if you're not aware of that, when you go to sleep at night, you dream. And when you dream, you've really moved your awareness totally away from the physical realm and moved into the astral realm. And you're working in the astral realm. And so you have these pictures in this realm where you see the dream state and what's happening in the dream state. And so there is this awareness of the astral. And another way of doing it is by sitting, when you're asleep and moving into the astral, you're lying down. And so a great deal of that astral awareness at night is not even an awareness, because you're lying down and you go unconscious. I think the man on the street, the typical person, goes unconscious, and for short periods of time they catch drift of this astral world and what's happening there. It's happening during the night. Actually, it's happening during the day too. It's a 24-hour cycle. It's like when you go to sleep at night, your body doesn't disintegrate and disappear. In the same way, when you're awake and aware of the physical world, the astral world doesn't dissolve away and disappear. It's still there. It's just where your awareness is. And during the day, what you can do is you can sit like we're sitting here and working with our meditation. You close your eyes and you move inside. What we say is you move inside of yourself and you become aware of what's going on inside. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Those sorts of things. And we have guided meditations quite often, frequently. And with those guided meditations, we move inside to our inner realms, to the inner worlds, and deal with the inner realms. And so we move from the physical over into the astral, even while we're conscious. And that's an intention. That's what's called a technique. I guess sleeping is a technique, but it's an automatic technique. There's techniques that we have that are purposeful. They're done with intent. They're intentional. You set up a specific pattern and you do something. You sit in a meditative posture, you close your eyes, so there's a pattern there. There's something that you do. You sit and then you go into your meditation, or you move into the mantra, or you move into the prayer, or whatever it might be. And so you're, with conscious effort, moving from the physical realm into the astral realm. And the purpose of that is to bring greater awareness to the astral, and to become aware that you're existing in both of these realms as you walk around in the physical world and perform your work activities or whatever you might be doing. And so you do these techniques to sort of get into the habit of moving from one realm to the other realm and becoming aware of the one realm and the other realm while you're awake. You have awake consciousness. And the reason for that, or the reason you say, well, why do you want to do that? Well, the reason you want to do that is because eventually at night, you want to become aware of the physical world, and you want the two to work, and you want to be able to move between the two freely and whenever you want. And the purpose of that is to get control of it. And that's what I mean by the inner discipline of yoga. When you do the yogic teachings, or do things based on yogic teachings, the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, all of those things are done to help us link the astral and the physical together with the ultimate function. Again, the ultimate purpose is to move into that causal realm. And man, if you can go beyond the causal, that's great, but at least get into the causal realm. I think Kriyananda might say get into the outer fringes of samadhi, that place where you're not in this realm and you're not in that realm, you're somewhere else. And you're saying, you kind of say to yourself, oh boy, I'm aware that those worlds exist, but boy, I'm someplace else. You may have had that experience. I have a different feeling that's touching that causal realm, maybe even higher realms. Some people have other types of experience. They see lights, patterns, the stars, things like that. And so anyway, those techniques, their function, their purpose is to continually enhance our ability and improve our ability to work with the physical world and be aware of it, work with the astral world and be aware of it, and then really be able at any time that we want to escape from this world, physical world, astral world, momentarily, and move into that center point, and then from that center point move up. And that's where moving upwards is the important part. You want to get into the center point. That's good and that's important. And like I said, it's a state where you say, oh, something's different here. And once you realize and become aware that you're somewhere else, your consciousness has moved somewhere else, you want it to move up, symbolically speaking, move upward and outward. And that's why we pay so much attention to moving up. We always say, bring your attention to the point between the eyes at the root of the nose. The purpose of that is it's to move the consciousness not only inward, to move it upward, and have that type of patterning. And as you do that, you become more aware of what's happening in the physical realm. Right now, again, the average man walking on the street, the typical person, you, maybe me, everybody, generally speaking, is walking in the world and they're totally focused on themselves. They're either focused on themselves in what they're doing, walking, talking, but they're not really aware of what's happening beyond them. They sense it. They can see other people in the room. You're walking down the street, you see the cars. The unconscious mind is well aware of what's happening around them and what's going on physically everywhere and always. But what I'm getting at is our ego mind, our ego part of our being is really focused on what's happening with us and what do we do to gain whatever it is, we're dreaming our dream, and how do we dream it so that we get what we want. If it's more money, fine, that's more money. And so we're working on how do I get more money. If we want more interaction with people, friendships, the ego goes and we do things in certain ways, and our personality functions in certain ways to produce friendships. Some people are very friendly, and it's their ego causes them to act in ways that produce friendships. Some people want money, and so their ego works and it acts in ways to try and get more money. Somebody wants to get married. The ego works and it functions. It focuses. If you're a man, it focuses on the woman. If you're a woman, it focuses on the man. And that it has an ego patterning which is self-centered. And what we're trying to do is go beyond that and and experience what is happening more beyond us. And that's what the meditation techniques do. That's what the practice, the discipline of yoga, what it's about is taking that focus on our physical world. And the same is true about the mental world. Oh, I had this dream last night. What does it mean? And we want to know what our dreams mean and what our world is all about. We get to get past the ego. The ego is strong and it's there and it's a little insidious. Some people would say it's very insidious in the way it works. And a lot of times it looks like we're expanding our awareness, but we're really not. It's the ego is there and it's trying to really do things for its own self-interest. And again, what yoga is about is to breaking past that, opening up, and ultimately doing something that helps the world. And that's really if I understand the teachings of Kriyananda, really ultimately what we're striving for to get beyond the ego is to help other people. If you sincerely try and help other people in the world, you automatically are breaking past your ego sense, going past your ego. You have to, because somehow you have to empathize with the world out there, with people in the world and what's happening with them and in their world. And in that empathy, you're going beyond your ego. In trying to help other people, you're going beyond your ego. And as you go beyond your ego, whether you know it or not, I like to say it's a pendulum that we're swinging on in the physical world and the astral, between our awake state and our dream state, our awake state and our meditative state, whatever it is. There's a pendulum which is swinging back and forth, and it's constantly swinging. And we go from the day to the night. But even during the day, there's times when we're in our physical realm and then we're so focused on something that we're doing at work or at home, we just focus the attention on it. We're really actually tapping into that astral realm. You were emotionally focused on it. So even during the day, we're constantly swinging between the astral and the physical world. But most obviously it's at night. We swing, and then beyond that, the other swing is between life and death. And so we have reincarnations where we go from one lifetime in the physical world into the astral world. The physical body dies, disintegrates. We're sad for a little while, but then we move over into the astral world, and we work there for a little while and have activity there for a little while, and then wake up and hi mommy, hi daddy. We wind up in the physical world. We just swing back and forth between the two realms. Is really where most of us are stuck, that are here in the earth realm, the physical earth on this planet, are stuck in those two realms. And we're trying to get past those two. We're trying to tap and again get into that causal realm consciously, and hopefully even beyond the causal, up into the superconscious, into the cosmic awareness, cosmic consciousness, enlightenment, and all those types of things. It's nice, it's a good goal to have, and we all should have it, but ultimately we need to work with the world that we exist, what we're in now, which is the astral and the physical. I put the two together. When we talk about twins, mystically speaking, what we're really talking about is the astral and the physical. A thought just pops into my mind, and I think about Cain and Abel, the biblical story, and most of us for Easter. I had a little Bible story, reference to the Bible, I guess, for a moment. But Cain and Abel, what that story was about was about the astral and the physical. Cain being the physical body, Abel being the astral body. And they're twins, twin bodies. You talk about an astral or a twin, mystical twin. It's your astral and your physical. And what was the old saying? I'm not my brother's keeper. Yes, you are. If you understand the connection between the astral and physical. Anyway, there's my Easter story for the spirit of the day. But again, our objective is to develop an inner discipline. It's to develop the discipline, and by inner discipline, what I mean is the mind, the mental discipline, and develop that mental discipline that eventually filters into the physical body, and we develop a physical discipline, and it filters into the astral body, and we have a discipline over the astral. Once we get the discipline there and the control of the two bodies, we get the two to merge together, and then I like to say, whether you want it or not, what automatically happens is you have that causal awareness or cosmic consciousness, cosmic awareness. And with that, I think I'd like to take a few minutes and listen to the bhajan, or the mantra, the devotional song, Bhaj Ho Radhe Ra Govinda, which again is a mantra. It's dedicated to Sri Krishna, Christ, Krishna, that ka, sound. So we have twins, keeping with the theme, I guess, of today, Christ and Krishna, somehow that twins existing there. And the mantra, if you listen, you'll hear certain Sanskrit words, and the words that you're hearing are, they would say, other names for Krishna, Govinda, Krishna as a cow herder, and there's other names that you'll hear in there, and again, they're just references to Lord Krishna. So again, I would ask if you could just stop, come to a meditative posture, and we'll listen to the music for a few minutes, and then I'll come back and close the meditation. Shanti. To close the meditation, I'd like to give you a very simple technique. I think it's fairly easy, maybe it's not, but it's called the flick back technique. And what you do is, if you're feeling some stress in your life, and I guess at this time there's a lot of people feeling stress in their lives, and you want to try and relieve the stress. Or if you're trying to accomplish something, especially if you're trying to accomplish something, and you're having some problems, difficulties. There seems to be a lot of obstacles. So you're feeling a little down, maybe a little bit depressed, concerned, worried, whatever it might be. What you do with this technique is you simply flip back to a time that you remember where you were happy, or you flip back and you go back to a time that you were creative. Maybe you're having some obstacle in your life, and you were trying to accomplish something. We've all accomplished something in our lives, and maybe right now you're having some difficulty with it and you're not able to quite get there where you want to get there. You go and you flip back, you go into your meditative posture, and you go and you flip back to that time when you did and you were able to overcome the obstacles and accomplish something. Maybe you're not feeling well. You go back to that time when you were feeling well. And what you do is visualize yourself in that moment. Visualize yourself in that position that you were before. In other words, you've already accomplished it. You're at a place where your mind has already accomplished what you're trying to do now. You've already done it in your past. And so now you're trying to bring that feeling, that awareness, and that state of consciousness, of accomplishment, of happiness, of health, into this moment of time. And you simply, again, from your meditative position, go back to that moment. You imagine what you were feeling like. You visualize the circumstances. You visualize the accomplishment. You visualize the improvement in your health. You become aware of the improvement there. You visualize or you feel the happiness, the joy that exists at those moments in time. And once you grab a hold of that feeling in the meditation, you bring it forward. You bring it forward to this moment in time. And then again, you sit in silence as you sort of bask in the bliss of that moment, of the feeling of that moment, and bringing it forward to this moment in time. And with that, I'd like to thank you for joining me with the meditation this afternoon. And again, I wish you great happiness, great health, and whatever it is that you're dreaming, that you're able to fulfill your dream. Shanti.